10 years, the law in this country says if you choose to sell, you are not paying any tax out of your profit, out of the profit. The major fear of our people, why most of us, even if we've spent decades here, don't have property here, is because when you hear the amount, 400,000, when am I going to finish paying? Well, my question always is, why do you want to finish paying? Majority of the buildings you see here in Germany today were already there before we arrived here, right? But since you've been here, the owner of those properties have changed hands so many times. So it is not about finished paying. It is about the value the property have gained over the time that you collect it. So don't be afraid to get to that. Another key thing that I want to tell you this evening is we need to learn to grow capital. Majority of us, most especially Africans, actually don't understand the financial intelligence. Some of us think that you need to own tens of thousands before you can grow capital. But you will be very surprised what 100 euros or 50 euros in a better system inside the same German system, if you put it in the right place, what the capital will turn to after some time. That is, you are growing capital without using much energy to grow it. But we need to get to that point to have that clear understanding. And that is a great point. Very, very key to me when we start talking about financial intelligence here is about our kids. I can tell you from my own mistake that if not for the fact that my wife stood her ground, that I would have regretted it later. There is a saying in this country that says if you have a child today, the very first thing you needed to do is to add 18 years to your own age. I don't know if anybody have heard of that adage before. Yeah, right? Okay. Because the little kids you have today, they are not expensive, and believe you me, they are not expensive. Even if we think children, they are expensive, they are not. But you also agree with me, none of us here can tell what our life situation will look 18 years to come. Whether we are going to be healthy, or whether our financial status will even help allow us to do one or two things. But guess what? That is when our kids will come and they will knock at the door. Not until my first son get to the age that he has to go into university, I never really understood that there are things you want to study in this country, you cannot find them in public schools, you can only find them in private schools. And if our God bless our kids to be that smart, and they have to go to private school, what do you tell them? I wish so many of us would not be telling them what some of us are already doing today by telling the children as to me light. I'm very sorry. I don't end well, but the German people say as to me light can a broaching kaufen. So I'm sorry, cannot buy bread. But that's what is happening already. Because the parents have this mindset that everything that I grab, I send it home. Remember, it's not a campaign for us not to send things home. But while you are doing that, don't forget your kids. Make sure you learn to grow capital. I can tell you, even with 30 euros from day one, when that child turns 18, you have some money in place to help them out. The majority of Africans don't have that. I even had somebody who told me, the children born in Europe, they are jabo. But is that really correct? Definitely not. You also have German children who are suffering, but we are worst positioned. And because of that, we all need to learn, how do we grow capital systematically, not under duress, and at the end, you also have something saved that you can help your children. The other part of it that is even much mind-blowing is that majority of us living in this country, we are working and we believe that at the end of the day, when we get to retirement, we will get money from the rented cassette, like they call it, isn't it? And yet some of us, when we go out there, we see so many German people who are already in the age of pension, but they are struggling with their lives, right? We must have seen them. It's even bad as some of them has to pick bottles from the streets, the one they call fan flasher, just to meet ends meet. Some of them had to work at the age of 70, 75, even 80. The last guy that brought a car for me in my company was an 80-year-old man. Then I asked him, "You are still working at 80?" He said, "Yeah, was soll ich denn machen?" Aber vorher habe ich 43 Jahre lang geackert. So he worked 43 years of his life, and yet the pension money is not enough for him to survive. Now, that is somebody who was born here, who studied and started working on time. Now, let's ask ourselves here, the majority of us will get here when we're already of age, isn't it? So which means some of us don't even have 40 years to work before we get to pension. And yet we are hoping to get a better pension. A majority of us don't even have the idea how the German pension system actually works. That you need to gather points. And what do you even need to earn to gather a single point in a year? Is that actually clear to every one of us? I think most probably not. Because if you know how much you need to earn on a yearly basis to secure a single point, that the points you gathered while you are working multiplied by the value of that point is what your pension money is. So it means even if you earn 6,000 euros on a monthly basis and you cannot put 40 years into service, definitely you will not get up to 1,000 euros in pension. So many people will say, yeah, if I retired, I will go home. If I just change that money to my country's money, it's a lot of money, isn't it? But like I just told you, after 30 years, a lot of persons who are now in pension here, none of them has returned home. Then we should now actually find yourself in old age here, what will happen? Now, when you find out that after 30, 40 years here, when you go home, you don't have no friends again, some of them, the Lord have called some of them, or they are not even in position to communicate with you, and you know that your children will not be going home with you, if you will really go back home, is something that the future will tell. So because of this, it is very, very key that we, foreigners living in this place, both Africans and non-Africans, that we need to get more clarity of how we prepare our life in this country. We need to get clarity. How do I start growing capital that I will be able to help my children when the time comes without telling them that I'm sorry? Because they will surely come. They will surely come. And the question is, if you already have kids right now, just ask yourself, how much have I put on the side for these kids? Most probably nothing. And so many of us also like to do things like, okay, I am keeping money for my children. We have had this time without number because I've done briefing for so many people. But what will happen really with that money you are keeping, 50 euro in the bank, 100 euro in the bank, probably you still have parents back home, right? And at the point, the mother is old or the father and they passed on. I know we are from Africa. I want to go home for my father's burial with my children. All the savings is gone. By the time you finish the super burial, pictures are shining. When you come back, your kids are 18 years old. Hello, Papa, ich möchte meine Führerschein machen. So what do you tell them? It's totally light. So we should not go that route of keeping our children in a position whereby they cannot measure up with the people in the society that they were born together.
Can you tell them macht eine Scheiße alleine?
Ja, es ist auch interessant. Es ist auch interessant zu sagen, macht eine Scheiße alleine. You just remember me one thing. The guy said, yeah, das geht mich nicht an. I fought for myself. So the child actually get into drinking and getting using drug at the end of the day because he was to make a Scheiße alleine. And when the Scheiße was on, he was no longer alleine. The father and the mother was there. They are children. You need to guide them and give them what you need to give them. Because if you don't do it, it might just boomerang. So because of that, from beginning, you need to learn to keep little money on the side for them, but into the right investment and not an online business. I would not advise you to do that. There's a way the German people have been doing that for decades. And it has always worked. Sometimes some of us work in the company and you work with Germans, And once their children get to the age of 14, 15, mostly they do motorized shine. They buy motorbike. When they get to the age of 18 and above, future shine, they like auto. And most of us always conclude, yeah, in fact, they are getting money from their grandparents. Some of them is true, but majority of them inherit portfolio from their parents. And once they get of age, the portfolio is transferred to them. They is that sense of growing capital. So they are actually not lacking, and their parents never told them "Estut me right," because they take it from one generation to another, and that is actually missing our society. Most of us were not born here, so we couldn't have blamed our parents for not teaching us, but we should not fail to teach our kids what they need to know. Another part, don't be, my advice, don't be afraid to start up a new thing. Also, don't rely on salary forever. I have not seen anybody whose salary make rich. Only probably in Africa, whereby you are getting your salary, but the money you are siphonning from the company is even much larger. So, but here, your salary, you will remain your salary, isn't it? So if you remain in that process and you are afraid to start up something on the side, then it's also a big problem. So my advice is do what you are doing. Also reach out to people who have done other things and also become successful. Like you are working, but you can start up a business or a career on the side. And if you are interested in that area, then we can actually guide you to know much about that. If you are interested to say, okay, I'm doing this job, but I want to grow up a career on the side, then you should reach out. If you now say, okay, I now understand that the German pension system is brutal, and I actually want to know more, how can I prepare myself better for the future? Then in that area, we can also be of help. Then, of course, the children aspect of it, don't underestimate that problem. Is going to come. We are already there. We are assuming in it. We know what it is, but we don't want you to be in a position to say, I am sorry. My fourth advice is also to say, okay, how can I learn in the future to also secure a property? Probably I will be living in that property, or even not living in there, rent it out and let people pay your mortgage for you. And in the future, you can also cash out the growth of it. And that is how people actually make wealth in this place. People create assets. An asset is this thing that you need to create, because a very big car is a liability. And after a time, it wears away. But if you're able to create an asset, whether it is little or big, at the end of the day, you actually have something to fall back to and see that, okay, you live a better life. For those of us who are very, very young, that are still there, who are ambitious to see that they achieve something in life, my advice is don't only pursue a career of salary earning. It is good to have a salary to pay your bills, but then my opinion will actually not make you rich. So because of that, try to see that, okay, you have something that pay your regular bills, then the money that you actually need to do bigger things will surely come from somewhere else. Now, going about, talking about the financial intelligence, how do you grow capital? Some people will say, I don't even earn enough not to talk of growing capital. And that is the worst mistakes that some of us will make. If you don't have a system that whereby, no matter how small, that your money is being invested in the right place, and allow the money to work for you for a longer period of time, because that is only when it makes sense, then you might not be able to actually live that kind of dream of life, that type of life that you actually want to live. And to say, okay, I'm afraid to be an entrepreneur because German tax is heavy, believe you me, I am saying this to always African people. He who pay much tax in this country has made much money. I have never seen anybody that German government will say, okay, because you are black, you're going to pay more tax. It doesn't happen. That I can tell you after 30 years in business. But most problem is that some of us spend money that we have not made. And it's a lifestyle depend of this discipline. If I make 10,000, I'm spending 11,000 euros, which means problem is waiting, isn't it? Now, if I'm collecting, helping the government to collect tax, this one is very funny. Some people don't really understand it. If you are a businessman, you see that the business people concentrate on what they call netto betrag, not the brutto, okay? Because if you write a bill to somebody, you add 19%. Just remove it from the one that 19% is not your money. You are only helping government to collect it. So because of that, learn from the one to separate. Your 90% belong to the government. You have helped government to collect it because they will come after you. There's nothing like, they will surely come. You can kill somebody in this country, they will say it's a psychological problem. But you cannot take their tax and they become psychological. There's never psychological for you to take their tax. It's a reality. So when you understand this and be disciplined about it, keep what belongs to Caesar, and you will surely enjoy business in this place. But what I've seen over the years is that some of our people, in fact, the government own is even more important. I said, they first of all spend that one and say, okay, let us die. And when they come for death, they will start crying that this government is wicked. So I actually don't see the government being wicked. It's about discipline. So we need to learn it. So we need to understand, okay, I want to start up a business. My idea is to take the fear out from people. If you really want to do it, try to understand the system, the country where you live. Why is it that other people are successful here and Africans are struggling? Sometimes it's because we don't come together and reason together. Sometimes also we want the shortcut, which is always, in most cases, the longest cut. And that is our problem, and we need to be disciplined about it. So again, there's a lot to talk about. In the financial aspect of it, growing capital and being financially smart, there are a whole lot to talk about. And definitely we will not have enough time to talk about it here. These few things that I've been able to talk about here, if you are interested in it, you need to reach out. We need to sit one-on-one and discuss which direction you want to go. But very, very key for me is for you to understand that German people always go on the safe side, meaning you cannot accidentally damage anybody's property in this country. You say, I'm sorry, and they will let you go. Okay? So which means, how do you go about that? You need to see that you back up yourself. Should the case anything happen, you also bring the insured place. I don't know any German family, for instance, that doesn't have what they call liability insurance, Haftpflicht, private Haftpflicht. I don't know any. Because about 2-3 years ago, the children were playing outside my neighborhood, about 10-year-old boys. It was summer, the parents were preparing dinner, and they smashed something on the ground, and the thing bounced and scratched a car parked. It was Tesla as at that time. A brand new one belonged to another neighbor. And of course, they ran back home and they figured out the boy who did it. 3,800 euro while the parents were preparing dinner. Luckily for them, they have a single package that covered the whole family of about 11 euro a monthly basis, and they paid, the insurance paid for that damage. If they didn't have, I'm sorry, we wouldn't have solved the problem. The parents would be surely made to pay for it, isn't it? Now, that's one aspect of it. So many of us are working here, and sometimes we have some people in the company unjustly, they'll kick you out, and you can actually not go to court because why? The court is very expensive. The lawyers are very expensive. So you just give up. African people will just look, let me go and look for another job and leave these people. Why? Because we've not learned to protect our income. Because you don't want to use your money and it's going to be expensive. So in most cases, we actually don't secure ourselves, our children, or our income as well. So we need to learn all those things, and quite a lot of things to talk about. Business opportunity, what can one do to grow and also have a side business, something that will support your income. We surely is something that we can discuss on one-on-one. Definitely this kind of group meeting will not allow us to go into some more details area because it'll be showing graphic and all of that. And moreover, everybody have different things that they are interested in, isn't it? So first of all, I'll be talking for a while. Maybe one or two persons write something down, a question you want to ask, which area you will be interested in. And I know some people are also writing in the chat, but right now while I'm talking, it's difficult for me to also read through the chat. So I see somebody putting hands on the head. Okay, first of all, any question that you might want to ask going forward here?
No problem. Hi guys, please put the question in the chat if you don't want to ask it yourself, and I'll help you to ask. Is someone's hand up? Let me see.
Okay, that would be great. Please try to check the chat and remind that. That would be fine.
Yes. Okay, for now, nobody's hand is up. So on the chat also, I'm not seeing any questions, but guys, please put out your questions because if you shall ask my own. So I think I can break the ice with my question first of all, because I've been thinking a lot about starting a side business. Hello, sir. My name is Esther, and I'm a nurse here in Germany. So I've been thinking a lot about having a side business, and I've also been considering boycotting the German system. And because I'm thinking of doing an online business, so it's not something that is based in Germany. It's going to be something that is pretty much online. I'm also a social media influencer. That means that when I get paid from any social media platform, I somehow don't want to pass it through Germany. So, and I'm sure all of us know the reason why I would do that, because I'm trying to avoid the taxes on it. I'd rather pay taxes in Nigeria than pay taxes here. So, can you please advise me if I'm misfiring?
Well,
Thanks.
Yeah, I've had a lot of persons who have reached out to me and said, okay, I want to do this business, but I don't want to pay the tax. So I want to say, first of all, change your mindset. If you change your mindset, you will also be at peace, honestly. Now, a nurse. I had a nurse that I advised about 4 or 5 years ago, and the area of nursing that person was doing, I just, okay, get one more course for yourself and make yourself self-employed. She said, no. I said, why? Because of the tax. Wow. Okay. How much? As at that time, she was getting 45,000 a year. 45,000, about 4 years ago, a year. So we drag it along the line. At the end of the day, she agreed to my advice and decided to make us. Today, she have 2 kids, and she determines when she wants to work. She dictates. I will work from 3 to 4 when my husband is back home. And guess what? The first year, they make 95,000 euros. Okay? From 45 to 95,000. But typical African person came back and said, well, after 1 year, this is why I didn't want to start this business, because the tax is too much. And I said, okay, how much? Said they had to pay 16,000 euro tax back. Wonderful. Minus 16,000 from 95,000, how much is left? Do you work 8 hours a day? Definitely not. And you choose when you want to work. And because of the 16,000, you want to give up almost 50K extra that you are making, and with freedom. So you see, it is mindset thing. So at the end of the day, I also had that to say, okay, you can even do it that you don't even pay this tax. Not that I'm in support for you not to pay tax, but I've never seen you and your family using a very good car in this country. Why don't you buy a nice car? And it will not be collected from the money that you make. Your car is considered as your business car, and the family is enjoying it. So at the end of the day, they end up buying a car of 65,000 euros. And that makes them not to pay the tax for another 3 years. Okay. Does it make sense? I think it does. So instead of running, hiding, not to pay tax, not to cash me, but there are ways you could go around the tax issue and you live your life comfortable and nobody can do anything about it. Doesn't matter the type of car you drive, it doesn't matter your lifestyle, and you just make sure that, okay, If the government come, also be honest with yourself. The roads are good, infrastructures are there. Of course, they also have to pay for it, isn't it? So give part of it to them. You just say you would prefer to pay tax in Nigeria. In fact, I don't really know if I would say I would prefer to pay tax in Nigeria, because if we could build a solar panel for the presidency for 10 billion, and we all know that we could do it much cheaper, much cheaper. If people can build it. So that's the topic for another day. So my advice for you is, whatever you choose to do, you need to be grounded in the German tax system. Okay? And you don't really need to hide, because there are things you will do that will reduce the tax, but that is not to say you will not pay tax. I can't remember any year that I paid less than 130,000 euro tax. Never. Can't remember. That must be long ago. That is tax after profit I'm talking, not the monthly tax or whatever. But does it make me sick? No, definitely not. I have to invest. And once they come, I gladly pay. I even pray that God raise my wing that I will be paid 250,000 upwards in tax. That's what I'm praying for. And you also know what that means. If I'm in a position to pay 250,000 in tax, which means I've made a lot of money. Simple. So I learned that actually from a German person who says, if you want to live freely in this country, remove your eyes from the German tax system. If you pay much tax, you'll make much money. So this lady was complaining that she had to pay 16,000, but usually she worked 8 hours. You know how the nurses work in the night shift, morning shift, 8 hours all through, and she was making 45K. Now she decided when she will work. The maximum time she work in a day is like 3 hours, because she's not doing this, what they call a Hebamme. She plan, drive with her private car. She choose when she will come there, take care of her kids, and is there for the family and make much money. And she was having problem paying 16,000. So it's a mindset thing. Okay, I hope that helps, right? Okay, I have somebody in the chat who says, I bought an apartment some years ago and it has reduced the value 25%. Very, very true, possible. First of all, you also need to understand the market system. Where did you buy the apartment? If I decide to buy an apartment, for instance, in a remote village, I'm not expecting that it will grow over time. But if I decide to buy an apartment in an area whereby to even get an apartment to rent is a problem, honestly, if you ring bell, 10 people will be standing to pay the money. So depending on where you choose to invest, that matters. But even at this 25% reduction or depreciation, if you are living in that apartment, then consider the fact that the 25% plus the money you would have been giving your landlord, if you choose to sell it today, you are still making money. That is a fact. If the value of the property has reduced 25%, and you've lived there for the last 10 years, okay, inside that apartment, consider the fact that you were not living in that apartment, that you were paying your house rent to somebody. Now, if you want to sell this apartment that is reduced with 25%, you will still make money out of it. But if you move out of the apartment you rent, you have to paint it, isn't it? Or repair it. So that is a fact. So going into investment, you need to think about, where am I investing? In which cities? I have a guy that bought an apartment for 56,000, 2017, sorry. That same apartment, when he was buying his, what do you call it, Ryan house, duplex, for 450,000, we give the small apartment as collateral to the bank, and the bank had to evaluate it, 2023, to be precise. And as of 2023, the house he bought for 56,000, small apartment, the person living inside before he bought is still living there to today. But when we give it to the bank now evaluated it and said, well, your small apartment costs 120,000. How many years does it take you to work and save 60,000? Now he used that small apartment as collateral. The bank did not take it. It's only as a collateral. The tenant is still in there and is still paying the rent. But he has bought a different duplex and moved in with the family, and life goes on. So the small apartment is already paid for, and the value as at that time, 2023, was already 120,000. How many years will it take you to work and save that money? So it's something that is good, my opinion, but you need to know where you are investing. Okay, I just wanted to answer that person who wrote on that place. Okay, Mr. Uche, I hope that helps. All right. Any other question?
I think the question continued.
Oh, really? Because I said I would not have that to start reading it. That's okay. He did not live there. He intended to rent it out.
I can read it if you want.
Monthly bills for the apartment. Yeah, it also happened. I also have things like this. My goal when I buy such apartment, I mean, within my environment here, although in most cases, the cost, the person renting the apartment actually cover most of my investment. But even there are some that is not covered at all. I even have to pay like 200 euro on top. Am I worried about it? Definitely not. Every month I pay extra 200 euro for that apartment. I'm not worried. Why am I not worried? Because I'm very, very sure that in 10 years' time, this property is going to gain value. And if you grow value at least 50%, my 200 euro is a very big savings for me. And that's why there are some cases where you will have such apartment. But before you ever say you want to buy an apartment, you need to be sure and you do your research about it. We burned our finger back in the days and we don't necessarily want people to repeat our mistakes. So if you're only paying a little to it, it makes sense. Don't worry yourself. Honestly, if it's in a good place, I'll tell you, relax, you have done the best thing that could have happened to you in this country as it is today. Okay? I hope that helps. All right. Any other question from any other person? Which directions do you want to go?
Yes, sir. Okay, someone is asking how much your services cost.
Wow. I'll also give you a story. There was one young Nigerian guy that came to me and said, well, I also have a transport company. He wants to do truck license. And the advisor to finance it said he need to get a company that will give him a contract. And I really find it quite interesting because the person really wanted to do it. So as I was filling out the form, he now asked me that very question. How much will this cost me? Because I've been to another place, they say I should pay 1,500 to get this letter. Then my question to the person is, if I collect 1,500 from you, do you really think it changed anything in my life? Definitely not. I don't charge money for any of these things, but I realize that a whole lot of persons have made mistakes that are making mistakes that we have made in the past. And I'm of the opinion that we must not all repeat the same mistake. Definitely not. If 2 or 3 of us have made that mistake, other people should learn from it. So in clear terms, there is no charges in these services. I feel somehow, sometimes, when I will go to any board meetings and I will be the only African person that is there. And in most places where business are being done, Africans are underrepresented. So whether the person now decides to come or not is not going to increase automatically my income, but I will be happy to see that our people don't make mistakes that some of us make in the early 90s. And that is why the services are there. Okay? All right. Any other question? Okay. Go ahead.
Yes, Mr. Derry, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity. I must confess that this is a very useful session, even though I'm currently not based in Germany, but I'm benefiting from it. My apologies for bumping in. I'm still in a group together with Esther, and she shared the link there, and it made sense to me from the face value. So I decided to join, and I'm very grateful to have received this information. I'm just curious to know, if you have any extensions within the North Americans that you might recommend somebody to reach out to seek some of these services, because I'm legally not resident in Germany for tax purposes. So I may not be a beneficiary of your high-skilled services. So if you have other connections within the North Americans that somebody could reach out to, you could recommend, that would be useful. The second aspect is I have this understanding from the earlier part of your presentation that you are suggesting it makes more economic sense to focus and invest more in where we are currently based, let's say in Germany, for instance, to develop your foundation there as compared to home, because there's usually the high possibility that you may not be returning home, even if you have the desire, you have that as a wish. And the aspect that scared me most is that's a fact, that in future, our children, if we have children, may not be that responsive to our needs as we have been responsive to the needs of our parents back at home. That is a reality. So I just want to reconcile the two and be sure that I got the message right. It makes more economic sense to focus on our current situation and make the investments here.
Yeah, I will start from the last one. Obviously, it makes a whole lot of sense. And honestly, it's very painful for me to see that the mistakes that have been made. Give me a second. Sorry, my daughter popped in, so I had to quickly attend to her. It makes a whole lot of sense, but one should also not see this as a campaign not to do things back home. Don't get me wrong. But I can tell you, over time, my uncle was also in the States for a very long time, and he kept fighting to come back home. And his kids are medical doctors, and they are doing very well for themselves. So when my uncle died, they were literally forced to come home to bury their dad. And they spent 4 days. See, today they don't come back to Nigeria. Even if the father owned things in now places that could go for millions, they are not interested. I mean, for them, it's stress. So some of us sacrifice building all these things at the end of the day for who? Whether it is in Cameroon, Ghana, Nigeria, in fact, I think basically African people think the same way. Whether you like it or not, there are people at home who have marked your property as if anything happened to you, this is the one I'm taking. It's a bitter truth, but we just have to learn from it. So I don't see me owning a mansion back home, then I will be living here in abroad like a church rat. So many people died here. Guess what? They live in a single apartment. There was a guy who died in UK, to be precise. He never traveled home. He's a Ghanaian. Never traveled home for 17 years. Okay? He didn't have no document to go home. But the kids he left home, they were at the age of like 5, and the oldest one was 10 when he left. So they are now already adults. The daughters got married. So he lived in a small apartment in outskirts of London. So when he died, in his apartment was £58,000 under his bed, and the neighbor broke in there the day he died. If the neighbor was not honest enough, he would not present the money. So he took out the money and actually said, well, you know this guy for years. I mean, they're living there together in a single shared apartment. And if he didn't do that, of course, the British authority, if they come, they will not take the body and take the money. You think they were going to be looking for the family to take it? No. And that is happening everywhere. So when we are still fit, young, if you travel home, enjoy yourself. Okay, enjoy yourself. But believing that we will go there, like Russia president said, Africa is a graveyard. We spend millions to transport corpse home. But the question is, what did you actually enjoy while you were young? So wherever you live, and if you have the opportunity to establish, please do. And in most cases, if we might use Nigeria as a case study, I have a friend during the Buhari regime who quickly went to the bank and borrowed 100,000 because Naira has depreciated to 550. And even if I advise him not to put this money to an apartment, but he went home. Changed the money that time about 52 million naira, and he was very confident I have 52 million. So by the time Buhari was leaving, I called him and said, guy, how far? If you were to change your money and bring here, you will not even have half of the money. So for me, was that investment? Was that smart investment? Imagine if you had put that money to one apartment today, you will still sell. At least worst case scenario, you get your money. So just in that line. Okay. The other side is in North America, I don't have people that can actually do this, but we have been able to transfer this to some of our people who live in Canada and the US, of course, who are now really into real estate and buying property, but in a research good location. One tip, any place close to university, with the apartment be empty, a popular university anywhere on earth, close to university, the apartment will definitely never be empty. Some of them are also going to area of buying old apartment and renovate it and put it to market and sell. You make money, of course, out of these things, okay? All right, I hope that helped.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so Mr. Pio, is it Pio? Pio.
Yes, Mr.
Okay.
Pio Kongo. Please go ahead.
Hi, good evening.
Evening.
Thank you, sir, for your wonderful submission. I'm blessed.
Thank you.
So my question is, first, registering a business in Germany. What are the processes involved in registering a business in Germany? That's the first one. Second, are there kind of a grace period after registering your business before you begin to pay tax? That's the second. And then the third is, can you start a business before you register the business? That's my question. Thank you.
One, it's not advisable for you to start business. Of course, we cannot even start business before you register it, because that would be like doing something illegal. So before you start business, my advice is know about the business that you want to start. Okay? Know about the business that you want to start. There are other businesses that you can actually come aboard, and if you take it serious from the one you start making money already, but you grow in career, that we can talk about, definitely. There's this kind of thing that I want to say, like trick in Germany. Your first 1 year, they don't really ask you for tax, isn't it? They don't, it's like kind of a grace, but it's not grace. The reason is that the following year, they ask you for the tax for the previous year that you have not paid. So as far as I'm concerned, there's actually no grace. If you earn €1, German government will insist that their share of the €1, which is the tax, you need to pay it. But you also need to understand that the German government also have a system whereby if you earn to some certain amount, back in the days, it used to be 18,000 as a single person, up to 18,000. If that is only what you do, you don't need to pay tax. If you're a married couple, used to be about 22,000. You also don't pay tax. But anything above that, then you start paying your taxes on them. So if you, let's say you make 50K, that Freibetrag, like they call it, they will deduct it from the 50K. The rest of it is what you are going to pay tax on. And you also need to understand that when you're talking of business, your profit tax come after the expenditure has been subtracted. The expenses subtracted, you're not talking of the really profit. Then they go again with, depend on the level. If you, for instance, earn above 120,000, you will pay about 42% Steuersatz. If you earn more than 120, you pay 42% out of it to the government. But if you earn like 80, 50, your Steuersatz can be 15, can be 20, can be 20, depend on how much you earn. That is how the tax system is structured. So that's why I said anybody who pay much money in tax has also earned much money. So if you earn 50,
sorry.
I said, anybody who pay much tax must have earned much money. Okay? If you earn more than 120,000 euro profit in a year, you will have to pay between 40 and 42% to the government out of that profit. So depending on how much you earn, if you earn like 80,000 or 50,000, they call it Steuersatz. So if you are already working, you are paying your Lohnsteuer from your Lohnsteuer class 1, 2, 3, that is normal. But if you now have a side business, it has nothing to do with Lohnsteuerkarte. So your business is based on these Steuersatz that they are going to use to tax it. I hope that helps. Okay, all right.
Yes.
Mr. Charles.
Okay. Charles, please go ahead.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Yes, thank you so much, Mr. Osaro, for the advice. I just want to throw in a few questions. So the first one would be, so a lot of us just came in. Okay, I've been in Germany for a while, not very long, and some of us have interest in starting our own businesses and all of that. But I think from time to time I hear this visa restriction thing. So regarding, okay, you need to have this visa to start a full-time business or blah, blah, things like that. So I don't know, like you've been here for a long time, what is accurate in regard to that visa type and starting a business. So that's number one. So the second question would be, so there's a lot of insurance types in Germany. So there's the Lebensversicherung, Haftpflicht, and all of that. Personally, I have the Haftpflicht and insurance for my mobile properties that I used to walk around. So from your experience, I want to know perhaps what do you think are the most important insurance coverage we should have for a single person just starting career in Germany and moving about in life? That's number 2 question.
Okay.
Number 3 question, okay, is so somebody that just starting a career in Germany, what would be your general, I know that, okay, perhaps at some point we need to come for consultation because it's specific in some context, but what would be a general approach to building a financial portfolio? There's a lot of conversations around the stocks, ETFs, real estate, and all of that. What would be your first general advice in terms of approaching this thing, building a holistic financial portfolio? That's number 3 question. I'll stop there because I have like 1 or 2 more, but let's go from this one first.
Okay. All right. First of all, let me start with the starting of a business, visa restriction and all of that. Yeah, it is true. If you have this Zusatzplatz, it's always written there if you are allowed to practice as freelancer or you are not allowed to do self-employed. In most cases, it's stated there. Now, before thinking of going into a business, you need to think about what kind of business am I going into? Is this business that I'm going into here, is it going to actually profit me, or I'm just doing it because I like that business? You know, at a point in life, you begin to separate between what you like and what will put food on your table. That's a fact. Huh? There are people who say that I like selling baby clothes, but the truth of the matter, if you want to sell baby clothes today, you might not be able to feed your family. So at that point, you not think about, okay, is it about baby clothes or is it about putting food on the table? So at the point, we need to differentiate what we really want. Business in Germany, starting up something, of course, there are visas that allow you to do some certain things. You need to look into that, for instance, in Germany, okay? Then, my advice for everyone is this one. You need to, as quickly as possible, whether you're a student or not, my advice. Because majority of us get here, we're already of age. We should not deceive ourselves. We don't even have, sometimes we don't even have 30 years to put into service before we get to pension. It's a fact. But time matters a lot. So the earlier you start to go into capital investment by having your portfolios, whether it is 50 euro, 30 euros, but plan to increase as time goes on. Make sure you get yourself engaged in a system whereby it is flexible. For you not to put yourself under duress, start small. There are good portfolios that you can put even 50 euros on a monthly basis as a young person, and at the long run, keep increasing it, most especially for those who are not yet married. Now you have the time to put some money in there. Believe you me, when you join the club or so many other people here, your jeans might last 5 years and it will be a very new jeans. But right now you can throw it away because the jeans is new. I hope you understand me. So my advice is, right now you should, as a matter of fact, get yourself engaged by having a portfolio that you can grow over time. It is good also for you, people who said I trade by myself. It's good, but if we have to be honest with ourselves, any distress call, any situation will make you to withdraw that money and spend it on that problem, isn't it? But then after, what will happen to your old age? So that is why you need to have a clear goal. There are money you play around with. There are investments that you should do that you, no matter what happens, you quickly not go to that place to cancel it and take it. And those are those type of investment that you say, okay, I know if I drop 50 euro into a solid portfolio, I will still be able to live my normal life. I will still be able to build my mansions and do my business. So, but that 50 euro is the first thing that has been taken out of my earnings on a monthly basis. Guess what? That money is working on the background and is bringing profit for you. Just abandon it there. Let it continue to go to that place. It might be your only backbone that you actually have reality. I've seen people who said, I'm trading, Trade Republic, scalable, and all what have you. But any little thing, because they have the control, you can just call the money back immediately. But then you have no reserve anymore. So that would be my advice for you, to make sure that as a matter of urgency, seal up a portfolio, let it keep going there since you're just starting up your career. Insurances, talking about insurance, we also need to know the difference. A lot of our persons, that's what I always keep talking about. We should teach people not to make mistakes that we made in the past. We should know the difference between these insurances. There's what we call capital insurances. There's what we call risk insurances. Capital insurances is where you invest your money work and you get return. For the risk insurances, you only get benefit when the risk occurs. For instance, you buy a car, you pay insurance on a monthly basis, you use the car for 5 years. After 5 years, you decide to sell the car. Do you go back to the insurance to ask for money? Definitely not. That is risk insurance. If the risk occurs, insurance will come. If the risk doesn't occur, insurance will never come. So we need to differentiate between it. So for me, number one, is this a half-fish to talk about? The number two of it is Rechtschutzversicherung. It's the legal insurances. Anything can happen to you in Germany, for instance. And people here claim rights. Even sometimes they will drive and want to enter a trailer that is coming because it's their right. If you ask, you say, yeah, this is my rest. But when you die, you have no rest. And that is how bad it is in this country. This is my rest, this is my right. You want to die because it's your right. So meaning that they are ready to claim right and take you to court. And that's where most people run away, because the lawyers are very expensive in this place. So Rechtsschutz, for me, is a must. If company kick you out unjustly, go with them to court and they will pay through their nose. But if you don't have Rechtsschutz, forget it. When you hear the lawyer price, you check the salary, it says, make everything just go. That's what is happening here, we know it. So those are the two key things that I will actually advise you. One, everyone should have a separate portfolio that is private pension portfolio. Don't get yourself deceived about it. Because it's written private pension does not mean you need to wait a pension. It is called private pension because German government make a law. If you invest your money through the capital market, through the private pension, and you keep it as more than or at least 12 years, in your profit, instead of paying 25% tax, you are only going to be paying 12.5%. And that could be a whole lot of money. And with that system, they block other people who are outside Germany from investing in that system here. It's a closed circle that only people in Germany can use this system to support their family going forward. So people don't really understand that. So for me, it's a must for everybody, most especially the women. Sorry, I need to come back to the women. You know, I know you people love kids. I love my Pekin. I love my Pekin. It's fine. But please, instead of buying Brazilian hair, buy the made in Onitsha hair and keep some money for yourself, because some women are not just, you people should be selfish for once. I'm a married man. I'm saying this to women. Make sure you have your portfolio, because this is your sweetie Pekin that you are talking about. When they start having girlfriend and boyfriend, mama is sharp kind of tight, my friend the roof hand. So make sure you have something for you as a mother, at least one small portfolio. Let it be 30 euros. Believe you me, in the future, it's going to be something that you can fall back to. But unfortunately, most women don't even have anything at all. Imagine the men that will work 40 years and they cannot get 1,000 euro in pension. Talk less of the mother of our kids, who, because of childbearing, they will not have time actually to go to work full time, and they don't have rented. So if you don't have a second portfolio, this is also this is in German television. No, most people don't even watch German television these days. It says the Ehemann renter is kindly guaranteed for the Ehefrau. I don't know. I don't think so. The husband's pension is not a guarantee for the wife, because the husband's pension is not even enough, not to talk of carrying two people in old age. So make sure you have a portfolio, even if it's 30 euro. Anytime you have extra money, pay it into your portfolio, because the more money you have in the system working for you, the more profit you make. What you need to watch out for. If you just walk into an insurance company, believe you me, the insurance people are so business people. Okay, some of them are out there for their own benefit, not actually for your benefit. And that's why so many of us that are also foreigners, we are also now insider, being able to advise you properly where you need to put your money, because it's not only but we ourselves, but we make sure that you put your money in the right place. There are so many portfolio out there, German portfolio. If you happen to put your money in what they call the Basisrente, you can only get benefit of it when you are in pension. And you can only collect the money on a monthly basis, because the Basisrente is supported by the state. And anything the state supports you to do, state also join you to take decision how to take it. So that is why, if you are enjoying the state team, make sure you have a portfolio that is independent from the state, where you can control and choose what happens to your money. Okay? All right. So Bill that asked question that, and I hope that actually answered his question.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Let me allow other people to ask. So I don't.
Right.
Okay, so before I go ahead, I have one question I wrote here, and I think it's also in this direction, because if someone has a regular job and then is doing business on the side, is the person taxed, like the regular job is taxed separately and then the business taxed separately, or they'll say this is the amount you've made in the year and they just
the tax while you work, the money is already taxed, and we know the big gap in it. The one that is very big is called brutto. The one that enters your account is called netto. So the other one they pull out is already the tax, so they will not tax you twice. So your separate business will be taxed separately. Okay?
Okay. Thank you, sir.
All
Joyce, right. Sorry. Joyce, do you mind going ahead? Your hand is up.
Yes, good evening. Thank you very much for the for your advice. Funny enough, I had this in my lecture, finance management, and everything you said really occurred back to what my teacher has been trying to tell us the whole time. It was back when we were very young. So my questions are related to pension insurance.
Yep.
I think in the chat, what Yewande said also is part of my question. So you talked about private insurance, and I wanted to clarify, did you mean Riester-Rente? Because you talked about Basisrente also. Is private insurance the Riester-Rente?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you for that question. And that's exactly why we choose to see we need to guide people to. Riester-Rente used to be very good. Rente was actually introduced by Herr Richter. Okay. He introduced it that time because the licensing was good. The amount you used to borrow money for the FRP was very cheap. But over the years, because of the the interest rate, the registered renter is actually something, not what I will advise people to do, but some people are key to this government support.
Mm-hmm.
Do registered renter, government also add a little bit, but it's good for you to have a clear mind that, okay, this registered renter is also Basel renter. It belongs to the estate in the tablet.
Okay.
You only get it when you are in pension. Now, what so many of us also do that actually they should think about is, I had a lady last time say, yeah, also private rent habitation. Yeah. I said, okay. Yeah, I'm paying 15 euro. Government is also adding 25 euro or 15 euro. Wow. Okay, let's add it together, 35 euro. 35 times 12 times 20 years. How much is that? 5,000? 6,000? Is that what you really want to use to help yourself at the end of the day? So we need to look into these things. There are some products from, some of the products whereby government supports, okay?
Mm-hmm.
That is, for instance, like the Basel renters since 2023, if you choose to put like 100 euro, there is a system where you put 100 euros, government will give you 40 euros back at the end of the year, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But the difference is that money, you cannot cash it out in rented. You cannot cash it out all at once. So what most people do is they do a combination. They actually invest 100 euro, but at the end of the day, they are investing 140. The 100 euro, whereby the government will return 40 euros, the 40 euros, they put it into private pension system. So they have two. One is the one government supports, the other one is their own private one.
Yeah.
Private one, you can cash all out, whereby the government, or you can collect it on a monthly basis. So there are combinations of things like that. Because government have been trying to make people to understand that, look, often share castle, rented castle,
they are getting nothing. We know that for sure.
So we need to understand that there are three pillars of pensions in this country. You have the often share rented castle, you have the triple share system, and you also have the privates. So if you are able to secure the three, it will make a whole lot of sense. But we can always sit on one of that and go in more details because individually people have different plans. You know?
Because the question that you want to ask is about the one if we should do our own private or if we should take the one from work, because there's some companies that also offer pension insurance. So to answer her question also, what do you think?
Absolutely. Look, when I realized this in 2022, when I started doing this, I called the whole of my staff and I also offered them private company pension. Company pension is a system whereby the company choose to pay extra money into an investment for you outside your salary. Okay? If I choose to give you 100 euros on a monthly basis, and you said no, in a year that is 1,002, and you stay with me in my company for 10 years, do the calculation, the money you just say you don't want, not to talk about the profit that the money is going to bring. So my advice, the company offers you, takes it.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much, sir. This has been very insightful. I'm really learning a lot. I hope our internet is great.
One-on-one meeting, we can always do that. And also for people who are interested in starting up a business or career on the side, there are so many opportunities that we can also introduce people to get into. And of course, doing your private portfolio, it is not about the name, it is about the portfolio choosing for you where your money is being invested, okay? So you have so many things out there, but the fact is that where is your money invested? Which portfolio is being chosen for you? And that is what actually brings the profit at the end of the day. And things like that can always be discussed in the one-on-one. Okay? All right then.
Thank you.
Two more questions?
Very much.
All right.
Two more. Okay. Mr. Nathan, please ask our question first.
No, good evening, sir. Thank you very much for taking your time to meet us today. It's been quite enlightening the way you talked and shows you know what you're saying. I've been here a long time actually. I've been here 17 years too, so most of the things you talked about I have them. So, but there's something I like to ask. If I'm working for a company, because there are some companies that when I used to be in the construction, before I stopped working at the construction, your boss matches your savings into some of this facility. What I'm asking is, are you aware if there are some kind of opportunities where they can deduct before the NATO, like from the brutto, they can deduct it to make an investment for you, like your boss deducts from your brutto, not from your NATO. So that account is not taxed, because in a situation whereby it's not taxed, that means your brutto is growing. You have more to invest. So maybe assuming they're taking like 5% off your money before it's been paid. Is this something that's done? I'm very certain it's done in some other countries, like in the US also, but I don't know if it's something that is done here in Germany. Do you get my question?
Yeah, I get your question. There are so many things. And first of all, so many companies are doing it because they know, honestly, in the public pension, there's nothing to collect there.
Okay.
That's why they're supporting. But then, one also need to understand, it is not compulsory for any company to do it for their staffs.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but the law says if they choose to do it for one person, they must offer every other person
Everybody, yeah.
same thing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that's what the law says. Okay, just to get that clear. Now, the money, sometime, like my staff, they get 100 euros, and there's a way they calculate it automatically that you will also need to pay from your income, part of the money. That's 100 euro from me, you pay like 30 euro from your salary. But the 30 euro is not coming from your netto, it's coming from your brutto. So which means whether you actually pay that 30 euros or not, you were going to pay the tax to the government. So that part of your tax that you were supposed to pay usually, they collect the part of it and collect, let's say 30 euros is what you are paying on a monthly basis. About 20 euros is coming from your normal tax you should have given to the government.
Okay.
10 euro is coming from your own netto.
Yeah, netto, yeah.
That is added to it, actually. So most people don't understand it, and they will say, they are taking 30 euro. No, they should go with their money. But as a matter of fact, because of lack of understanding, because of your 30 euro, you are giving out 100 euro. So they also want this commitment to be there. So that is what they usually do. Most companies will define their own and say, okay, we are giving 50 euro to everybody. For some company, the law that allow you to do this brutal gain is 280 euros the company can offer you. You as a staff cannot come and say, okay, I want the whole 280 euros. Now, if you want that, it might mean that you are 120 euros from your own salary will also be added to it. That is
wonderful.
From the brutto. So because of that, people will say, this is too much. Let me collect only 100 euro from this 280. So that I only have to pay 25 euro to and all of that. So we need to understand it. Some of the portfolios also go this way. If you not say, okay, you want it, you are paying 50 euro every month, your company is giving 100 euro, for example. If you change your company, you can keep that part of it that you are paying your 50 euros. So the smartest that way is, once you are going to your new company, you approach them. I was having this in my previous company. I don't know whether you people also support it, and this is what I'm getting. Some people make a condition to move. I want to move to your company, but the fact is that there are other little things that are very key to me. I used to get 280, which is the maximum that is allowed to get. Of course, I give euro from my salary to it. I don't know if you people will include that in my as a service for me. If they need you, they will say, you're the smart marshal. So be smart, okay?
Yeah.
All right then.
Okay, my last question is if we decide to talk with you, is this something you do on weekdays, or when? How does it work? Like your appointment, is this something you do on weekdays or weekend? And how does it work?
That is that I'm quite flexible, but now we also have other people in my team that we now do things together. I have persons like Dr. Paul. Dr. Paul has been helpful, grounded in this area at all. We also have Dr. Yebuchi. We have somebody like Mercy is also on board. So we usually check who is free to take the appointment, and we'll be able to discuss one-on-one. So if need be, I will also be on board there, but they are quite competent in what they are doing and will also.
No, it's okay. It's okay. I'll think about it. Thank you very much for your time once again.
Okay then, thank you. Okay, I did have Eze raise up his hand before. Now he's dropped. I must have rounded up, but that's fine. If your question is answered, that is fine.
No, my question hasn't been answered, but I thought the time was up, rather.
Just go ahead, since you already raised up your hand.
Okay, thank you very much for what you've said so far. And I would say that from my point, I'm actually aggressive in most of what you've said. I'm doing them both here in Nigeria. So for me, it's how I play mine. My question is regarding when you talked about the tax you pay in terms of how much you earn in your business. Can you relate that to the type of business registration that you do that will determine if it's related to the level of business registration that you've done?
Well, it's actually not related to the business registration. Whether you are entrepreneur, as one person, self-standing we call it, or you have a company. Now I have series of them. I have a limited liability company like GmbH. Then I also have one that are just solely entrepreneurship. And in fact, I do a whole lot of this. So what happens is this one. With all the companies together, they now match the whole income. So at the end of the day, you are definitely above that level, and they will just tell you this is your tax you need to pay, because this is what you now earn. Company A, you earn 50,000. Company B, you earn 200,000. Company C, you earn another 100,000. So this is how they calculate it together. I actually always keep telling people, the more you are looking for a loophole not to pay the tax, you are giving yourself stress, honestly. And you are also putting yourself in a position that you fall into their trap that, they always said the black man should smell more than the other people's own, even if our own is not actually, even if it is not true. So what I learned in the past is that so many black people start business and they all crumble. So I was advised to say, okay, do you want to crumble or you actually want to remain in business? And my choice was very clear. I want to remain in business. So because of that, I make sure that I don't have any shortcuts. So even if police stand in front of my house, I know that I'm secured. And I don't also, because not to pay money, I say, let me do the paperwork myself. No, I've given them everything out of Steuer Kanzlei. So it's a German Steuer Kanzlei. Anytime you ask questions, I say, ruf my Steuerberater. Call my Steuerberater, because that's what I'm paying them for. I pay a lot of money, so they should be able to answer the question and not me. So they keep me outside and I pay them the money for the services. And it's okay. Okay? I hope that answers the question.
Yes.
Okay. All right. So we round up. I don't know. In fact, since it's a woman, I cannot afford not to answer I take our question. So, Madam, please go ahead, so that we have peace to conclude this meeting right now. So go ahead, Madam.
Yeah. Good evening. I have a question regarding the Steuererklärung. What is your view on that? Like, would you advise, like if you have different businesses, would you advise to do the Steuererklärung, the fact that you're paying tax?
If I was advised if you should do it?
Yeah, if you were advised to do it, because there was one time, I'm not sure, like I heard that if it was like a lecturer that was saying something about that if you have like businesses or you buy like a house or like investment and things like that, and you do your Steuererklärung, it's possible that you have to pay Nachzahlung on it.
Yeah, it does happen. As a matter of fact, my bitter experience in this country back in the days, and I have only worked maybe 1 year or thereabout. So I started hearing about this, do your tax clearance, which is flipped anyway, it's compulsory. So I actually went there to also do it. The first half year that I worked, They gave me some money back in the days, about 500 Dutch mark. 500 Dutch mark was like 500 Dutch mark back in the days. How can I explain it for you? If we were going to clubs, you take like 25 Dutch mark and you will enjoy yourself and you still have change in your pocket. That is how powerful the Dutch mark was. So I did tax refund, they gave me 500 Dutch mark. It was like mind blowing. So while I was working, I was already planning the next year to go and do it. So I went there to do it. They said I should pay €1,000 back when I already budgeted that money. So you see, the more you earn, and depending on your social class, the situation they will ask you to pay money back. But in other way, you can actually not even avoid it, because if you don't pay your tax after some time, they will surely get to your point. They will do accumulatively 5 years back, and they will give you strafe for not paying. So people who rush because of Stoya Eclairo always jam the rock sometimes, because somebody using low Stoya class 1 pay more tax than somebody using low Stoya class 3. As a matter of fact, low Stoya class 3, you almost don't pay tax actually. So why somebody using low Stoya class 1 does tax refund and get money back, you with the low Stoya class 3, you rush down there, whereas you did not really pay much tax, and you will now find out that they are even telling you to come and pay some money back. And that is why the German tax system is complex. But if it is business you are doing, there you have no choice. You only need to be afraid to pay tax if you are now making like 50K and above. That is when you now see, okay. But if you are earning like 30,000 and they remove your Freibetrag, maybe 20,000, out of the 10,000, you need to pay your tax, for instance. Then out of the 10,000, you have spent €5,000 for expenses. You bought a new laptop, you travel with the train. Nobody is going to hold you back and say, last time you traveled, you were traveling with your family, this ticket, we are not taking it. It's not possible. But whether you like it or not, you're ready to travel with your family. And you now travel with your family and you lodge in the hotel. And you're a business person, the ticket money or the benzene money or the hotel lodging, everything is in your business. But can you minus it from your private if you were not a businessman? No. So there is more to know about the German tax system than what most people actually know out there. Or if you ask me, I will say do your tax, because I've seen so many people who they come after at the end of the day, they were not happy with it. I hope that helps. Please.
Not really.
Okay.
I'm not really. So like, are you advising that we shouldn't? Do you mean like doing the Steuererklärung, or just like you mean paying tax?
Two ways I explain it now. If you are working, I will advise you to do your Steuererklärung if you are normal work. If you are a business owner, you don't even have no choice. You must do it. Otherwise, they will come after you. In fact, they will surely come after you. So that one is, for me, non-negotiable. Just do your Steuererklärung if you are doing business. Otherwise, you will not have peace. So if you want to have peace, do your Steuererklärung. Because most people are even afraid because of this tax, but actually they are not making money. They are not even making much money, but they are just afraid. This tax, I don't want to, but how much have you actually made in profit? You should be able to have your documents clean. Income and output. This is what I receive. This is what I spend making this money. That is your expenditure. It's only when you minus it, you actually see what you are going to be paying tax for. So because of that, I advise, do your tax. Do your tax. In fact, do your tax in this country, because they don't joke with tax. So my advice is, yes, do your tax reform. Do your tax Steuererklärung. Okay? For you to be on the safe side, you can sleep where you don't have nobody's problem. If you are making business, always think about profit. Once you know profit, if it's possible for you, keep 50% of it in the account. Profit.
Yeah, thank you, sir. Sorry, one more last question is that, so that means that if you do the advice for us to do Steuererklärung, so that means even after doing that, there will still be possibility that we have to, this man, Nachteil muss, right?
Yeah, Okay, besides NAFTA, are you talking of as a business owner or as a worker?
Both.
Both. Okay. For the business persons, you are not paying NAFTA. You are paying what you are supposed to pay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not NAFTA. For a person who is working, it's very possible that when you do your tax clearance, they will not tell you, okay, check and balance, you need to pay some money back to the state. But it's also very possible they will tell you, you are getting 2,000 euro back because you have paid too much. So, but if you don't do it, it's possible that they will come after you and they will give you strafe. That is how the system is.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very
All
much.
right, everyone. Thank you for taking our time. I think we spent much time here. And please, my advice is you should reach out. Dr. Paul and other persons are also there. Make sure they help you they guide you to the right portfolio to invest. Don't wait for big money to invest. You can grow your capital, starting with 30 euros, increase it after some time, 50 euros, increase it after some time. Most especially those of us who know that we actually don't have even 30 years to work before pension. Grow your capital. With 50 euro, 100 euro you remove will not stop you. And of course, our beautiful women, no matter how sweet the cane is, make sure you have something on the side for yourself, because you people are holding the worst part of the sugar cane, I must say. And also make sure you plan for your kids specifically from the one that has helped me and my family and so many other people. And that's what German people have been doing. My advice is, even if your child is of age, help them to start a portfolio. The reason is, when they now start working, sit them down, make them to see reasons why they should do it. Majority of the German family always transfer their portfolio to their children and advise them to go ahead with it. So what happens is they increase it because there's already something in the portfolio, and that gives them a better stance than our children. All right. So thank you all. And
thank you very much. Thank you very much.
All right then. Also, you could reach out and we can also advise you more one-on-one. Thank you, everybody. I have a wonderful evening. All right.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you.
And guys, please don't forget to book him for a private session. I put the link in the chat box, even on the group. I've put the link there. If you don't know where to get the link, DM me. I will send you the link.
Hello. Thank you very much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Paul, I agree to.
Thank you very much for organizing it. It was really wonderful.
Thank you.
Hello.
Esther.
Thank God. It even beats my own thoughts. I wasn't expecting so much wisdom.
Hey, Paul, I agree to you. Well done.
Yeah, long time. Okay, I hope you guys had fun. Have a wonderful evening. And yeah,
all
feel
right.
free to reach out at any point in time. And yeah, people are there too.
I have a quick question. Is this meeting a recurring meeting for you? Because we usually stay longer to talk. Should we leave your room and then create our room to go and continue talking?
You want to borrow my Zoom link? I can allow you to use it for. I mean, I'm not going to use it. So if you want, I can allow you. I can quickly just let me. Who is going to be the host? I can assign you a host, and when you're done, it's fine.
All right. Okay, that would be great. Thank you very much.
Okay,
sir.
good.
I appreciate that.
I'm going to sign out now, but before then, let me give host to.
You can give it to anybody, really. Our family members.
Ah, okay. Maybe I will. Okay, let me see. I think I shared the host with the speaker.